Hey everybody, it's Matt from Wilson's Cider House, Wilson's Farm. Talking today about turkeys. Thanksgiving's here, and every year we kind of do this thing where people buy smoked turkeys from us. We also sell all the sides, potatoes and stuff as well. So that's a yearly thing for us. What we do is we smoke the turkeys. This is something that adds a lot of flavor. It's a little bit more interesting than just your regular roasted turkey. We get a turkey called Ferndale Farms turkey from Minnesota, and they are organic, antibiotic-free, free-ranging turkeys. They're really delicious. If you haven't had a turkey that's not straight from the grocery store, I highly recommend it. You can buy them around at some of the grocery stores around here. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a rub that we do on turkeys at my house before we roast them or smoke them. Kind of a salsa verde. What we do normally for the dinners for pickup is we do a brine. If you haven't brined turkeys before, that's also a great thing to do. Usually it's about a cup of salt to a gallon of water. Brown sugar, we do about a half cup. And then you can add what you want to that point. You could add some garlic, some chilies. Really, the world's your oyster at that point, whatever you're interested in. Overnight would be a good length of time. The good thing about Iowa is sometime around Thanksgiving, the temperature's not too warm, so you might be able to put that in a bucket with your brine overnight, maybe out in the garage, if you don't have space in your refrigerator, which is tough for a big turkey. So for this rub, I always try to think of everything in the rub as having a role. This has got jalapenos. I like a little bit of heat, just about everything. It's got garlic. I like garlic and everything, but I'm using shallots because when they caramelize on the turkey, it'll be a puree, but they'll still be in there. They'll caramelize and add a lot of sweetness. Herbs, I find whatever's the freshest. I like to have a mix, kind of a mix that's got some very kind of sweet herbs like your dill, and then some earthy herbs like your sage is in here as well. Cilantro, a little bit of parsley for kind of a lemony texture, and then sage, kind of the classic one. I also like to put a little bit of spice rub in these rubs. This is a homemade shawarma spice. It's just got cinnamon and turmeric and black pepper, a little bit of smoked paprika in it. That could be anything you wanted to. I've also done it with a jerk spice before, which is really nice. I've done just a straight Italian herb, which is really nice. So after you get all that stuff in there, you're gonna want a little bit of acid in there. If you don't, it's gonna taste a little bit flat. So we'll do olive oil, a really good red wine vinegar, and some salt. Puree all that in the blender, rub our bird with it after you brine it, or skip the brining, and then smoke it or roast it. So we're gonna slice the jalapenos up. It's all gonna go in the blender, so you don't really have to worry too much about the size. Sometimes you think you wanna split these lengthwise, but if you do that, a lot of times they don't get all cut up in the blender and it's kinda awkward. So these will go in. We got shallots next. Again, these are in there because as they roast, they're gonna add a lot of sweetness to it. Another thing you could do with these shallots, if you wanted to ahead of time, is you could caramelize them before you put them in the rub. That could be kind of nice, add a little more sweetness and depth to it as well. And again, with the shallots, just like the chilies, you want to get them a little bit cut up before they go in the blender. And the garlic, we're still getting local garlic, which is really great. Try to avoid that bagged garlic. There's really not much to it. I'd almost say, if that's all you have, I think there's really no need to do it. It just doesn't have much flavor whatsoever, and especially don't use that pre-minced stuff. It's really kind of useless. What? It is. Do you use that?
No.
Yeah. And then with the herbs, also give them a little bit of a chop or a tear. If your blender, if it seems like the blender's not going to be able to take all the herbs that you want to put in there, you can always do a portion of it and then do your olive oil and your vinegar and then blend it down. And as it blends down, you can add more herbs as you go. Pretty much every culture has a green sauce or a salsa verde. You know, there's differences in every culture with them, but you're always gonna find herbs. It seems like they all have a little bit of chilies in them, garlic, salt. It seems like everywhere I go, every book I open up, there's a different name for them and a different use for them. We always have something on the menu with a salsa verde of some kind, whether it's chunky, whether it's hand cut, whether it's really spicy, or it's mild. It's just a nice way to convey a lot of freshness into any dish you're doing. I'm gonna put a little bit of this homemade shawarma spice in there. It's one of those things where with these spice mixtures, a lot of the Middle Eastern ones that I use, they have a quality to them that when I use them in a dish, I don't often use a lot of them, especially in dishes that aren't necessarily from that part of the world, but it makes this background flavor that sometimes people can't really put a finger on, but it adds a dimension that's really interesting. A little bit of salt, olive oil. We'll take this lid off because we're gonna need a lot of it. A little red wine vinegar. Again, we use Banyuls red wine vinegar. I don't know if you can get it in stores around here too much. We use it exclusively for red wine vinegars. It is by far my favorite European red wine vinegar. Really sweet, just a delicious addition to just about anything. And that's it. Then we're just gonna spin this to a smooth paste. Again, you could do this in a food processor and have it be a little more rustic looking. The only thing I would say about that is the bigger your pieces, if you're gonna really roast the turkey with it for a long time, you might get a little burning on there. If it's smooth, you get a little less of that. This is a metal spoon. I'm gonna push stuff down there, don't do that. You just want it to grab. You just want the blades to grab. On a lower speed, it'll pull it down more. If it's a high speed, it's spinning so fast that it's gonna press everything up. So if you have a bunch of chunky stuff in there and you want to pull it down into the blades, a low speed is the way to go. And then once it grabs, you can turn it up a little bit. So we have kind of a really flavorful oil that you can rub all over it. If you wanted it thicker, you could do a little less oil. For me, I kind of like to use it on the bird, and then with a lot of oil still in there, I can add more as I go throughout the cooking process. It helps to stretch it, and the oil helps to brown the bird as well. So when you get your turkey, they're gonna have the neck inside. They're gonna have a little extra fat here. You can always remove that and get rid of the neck. The neck's gonna be great for making a stock, obviously for your gravy. I also would try to remove these. I would remove these first wing bones. They tend to burn. So I'll do a little bit of salt first. This is probably if you're not brining it. If you are brining it, you probably skip this step, and we'll get the back side once we rub it. And then this is my salsa verde that we just made. And I just like to, I don't do a lot, like I said, because I am gonna add it more as I go. And you can also, if you want to, you can lift up the skin of the breast and put some under there. And the oil is also gonna help get that really crisp roasted skin. And also no harm in putting some inside. If you did this a day ahead of time, that'd be nice too. Flavors will get in there a little better. Yeah, just like that. And then you're ready to roast it. So here's your turkey. This is one that we smoked. Again, it's got that really great kind of like fall bonfire smell. It also had the rub on it, so that's also really nice. I'm just gonna show you a couple things. I'm not gonna break the whole turkey down. I think everybody has their own way that their parents used to do it and they learned that way. But basically, I'm gonna take off one of the breasts and one of the legs. And from there, you can do whatever you want to, but I do think you need to know how to remove the leg. So the leg is gonna be right here. I'd like to give a little bit of a split there and just kind of press it down. Once you get that, you're gonna pop that joint. And then once you get that off, you can always just split it right through the, well, I thought you could, there you go. Split it right through there. And you got the leg and the thigh, really great. This is my favorite part. I think it's most people's favorite part. It is hard to keep that breast moist. I think the rub helps. I think a better bird helps, like we're using these Ferndale birds, because they're a little bit fattier. And so, you know, you get what you get, but I would always have a good gravy. And then the breast, you're just gonna go right down along that breastbone there. And just pull it off as you go. Again, and then, you know, then the rest is up to you. Same thing the other side. And then with this, you know, with the breast like this, I like to do slices and then put it back on the table, I mean on the plate that way, and then do the drizzle right across it of, if you didn't have the gravy, you could use a little bit more of the rub, but the gravy's my way to go. There you go, there's a smoked turkey. So If you haven't smoked one before and you want to try that, you know, we do about 6 or 7 hours at 300 degrees. It takes some time if you have a home smoker. And if you do smoke it ahead of time or buy a smoked one, they're easy to reheat in the oven. I like to put a little bit of foil over them in a pan, pour a little stock over them, and I put them in like a 300 degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes a pound till they're just warm through the middle. You don't want to overcook them. So if you're going to smoke your own, which is great, it's an endeavor. Once you brine it and or rub it, you're going to want to get your wood in there early, make sure the smoke is hitting it early. You can kind of decide how much smoke you want on it because it's going to take 6 or 7 hours. Probably maintain the temperature. I wouldn't get above like 300, 325. I like to use hickory. I come from the great state of North Carolina, and when we smoke hogs, that's kind of what we use. We use apple here on the orchard, of course, and that's also sweet and really great. You can definitely do that yourself. I would make sure you have a smoker, make sure you have a way to check the temperature, get it up to 165, right between the thigh and the breast, at the thickest part, and then make sure to rest it. Whenever you're roasting turkeys or smoking turkeys, the bigger the meat you're roasting, the longer you want to rest it. So get it out of the smoker, get it out of the oven, and tent it in a warm spot. Half hour wouldn't be unusual. I know it sounds like a long time, but it's going to maintain its heat and it's going to help to retain all those juices. That's how we do our turkeys here. Again, this is Matt at Wilson's Farm, Wilson's Orchard, showing you a little bit about how to make the most of your organic free-range turkey.